Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Regional Chamber's annual Canfield program. I'm Kim Calvert, Vice President of Marketing and Member Services, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. I know for me, of all the events we couldn't hold in 2020, this is probably one of the ones I missed the most for so many reasons, but one of those reasons being our Canfield Area Council. And this group comprises city, township, and school officials, as well as individuals who live and or work in Canfield. They meet and plan these events, and they are always working hard to bring you educational programs, but always with a little bit of a twist of some kind, particularly for this evening event, in which they strive to do things in a more unique way. We don't have anything too crazy up our sleeves today, I can promise, but I can't thank the council enough for their enthusiasm and creativity in helping with these events, but even more so for caring so much about Canfield. You have one truly fantastic group representing this community, and it is because of them that we would typically, in non-COVID times, hold 2 programs each year, and also present 2 awards to deserving businesses and individuals, a tradition that we will continue tonight. But can we please give them a round of applause for all that they do? This evening, we're going to hear updates from Canfield City, Township, and schools, as well as from Mahoning County about an important sales tax that will be on the ballot and impact this and all communities in the county. And as I noted, we'll also present the Canfield Area Business Council's 16th Business Pride Award to Amron Lanes and the 10th Spirit of Canfield Award to an unknowing individual who is in the room tonight but has no idea that they are the recipient. So that's always fun, and as I always say, if you were somehow coerced into coming or brought here under weird circumstances, you may want to think about that and leave while you still can. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of Good Evening Canfield. This particular event has become so popular that we now have 4 sponsors. And I'd like to start with our longtime friend, sponsor, and supporter of the Canfield community, a company that has for years committed to both our Good Morning and Good Evening Canfield programs, as well as other chamber programs, and has been a member of our organization for nearly 48 years. Please welcome for remarks from Farmers National Bank, Executive Vice President and Chief Wealth Management Officer, Mr. Mark Lennick.
Good evening, Canfield. I raised my eyebrows when Kim said that we weren't going to see anything crazy or zany, because I remember many of these that were just that. And we decided that maybe because they're in the evening, that probably adds a little fuel to the fire. But anyway, again, Kim, thank you, and hats off to you and Samantha for putting the event on. And Chuck Whitman spoke to Chuck earlier. This is such a great facility, and Nancy does such a great job bringing events in, so we're just excited to be here. And obviously this event is very near and dear to our hearts at Farmers, since it is our corporate headquarters, and we've only been there since 1887, so again, it's just very exciting for us to be a part of this event. And of course, as a community bank, one of the characteristics that we think is very important in that definition is that we give back to the community, and sponsoring events like this is a great example of that. In talking with Kevin gives his regards. He's not able to be here this evening, Kevin Helmick, our CEO, but in talking to him, there are a couple items that I wanted to mention to you all. One thing that is certainly a big part of what's on our plate right now. Back in June, we announced the merger with Cortland Banks. And again, just very exciting news for us, very exciting news for them. We've admired and worked against and with Cortland for many, many years, but got to know Jim Gazier and Tim Carney, who will be joining our executive team. Again, very additive. We think it speaks well for the community that we're able to take 2 strong banks, put them together, and we're hopeful that in November we'll be able to call it officially done as a merger. And then sometime in the first quarter, we'll all be able to bank together. So the names will change on the buildings. We'll be converting systems, and again, we're just looking forward to that very, very much. With that in mind also, we opened a new branch, not in the area so much, but up in Chesterland. We are having a ribbon cutting on Monday, and that's very exciting for us, a new territory. We think our Farmers brand will play very well there. And then the other item that I would mention, in fact, Rick Cruz is here this evening, and we have a lab branch here in Canfield that we opened. It's not new anymore, but it is something that we're very proud of with the technology of the ITMs, the integrated or interactive teller machines. And the reason I bring that up is we're getting ready to put one in Boardman. So there'll be a freestanding interactive teller machine in Boardman. So with that, a lot going on at Farmers. And then last but not least, I hear it all the time, we are rebranding and working very hard to get our wealth management brand out there. A lot of commercials, some new ones coming, so keep an eye out for that. So again, very, very proud to be a part of this event. Look forward to the evening, and I hope you all have an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, and to the entire Farmers team, and for all that you do in the Canfield community and in our valley, and for your ongoing support of this event. I know, Mark, you've been a supporter for so many years of these events, and we really, really appreciate all of you. We're also glad to welcome for the first time as sponsor of Good Evening Canfield, 898 Marketing, and we can't thank founder and owner Jeff Risner enough, and I'd like to ask him to the podium for remarks as well.
So good evening, Canfield. Thank you. Thank you very much. Special thanks to Kim and the Regional Chamber for allowing us to be a part of this event. Since we started 898 Marketing in 2014, Canfield has been our home and will be our home. One thing that we didn't talk about in that video, because we talk about numbers matter, is those three numbers, 898. Those three numbers, and 898 was really, marketing was really started 38 years ago when I was 3 years old, and my grandfather told me to point to three numbers. And you saw the lottery ticket there, and I pointed to the numbers 898. And he played in the lotto every single day for me. And every time he hit, he would invest that money, and he was good with his money. And so fast forward, when I was 13, he told me what he was doing, because after I was done cutting his grass, we'd sit on his front porch. And now there's an office, a room in our office called the porch. That's a room that we go to just to hang out and unwind and relax a little bit from the day. And he told me what he did, and he said, when you turn 16, I'm going to buy your own truck, and I'm going to buy your own lawn care equipment. You're going to start your own business. Now I'm 13, all I hear is I'm going to be at Urson with a truck. That's all that matters. But he said he's doing this for three reasons. He said, one, I want you to understand that God gave all of us gifts, and that those gifts are not to be kept to ourselves. The second reason is that those gifts should be used to serve others. And if you do something well enough and you find so much joy in it, someone's going to invest in you to make a living. 7 years and 4 days before I turned 16 and I was about to get my truck, he passed away on that very same porch. He taught me that lesson. And I've turned it into a company that I'm so proud of in a township that we're so proud of being in. And what you saw on there is what we've been able to serve in the area since we started, and a lot of that is over this past year. This past year, the number 19 has meant a lot to all of us. It's impacted us immensely. But to have over 1,000 community service hours and to help the clients that we have in telling their story and serving others is something that we're just very proud of. So we're proud to be a part of the Regional Chamber, proud to be serving here in Canfield, and definitely proud to be here this evening. So enjoy the rest of the evening, be safe when you leave here, and Kim, thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, job for telling a beautiful story through video and words. We appreciate all of your support and for your joining us today and supporting the Canfield community. Thank you again. The Platts Realty Group has been a great friend and partner of the Regional Chamber and our team for several years and has supported many events this year. And we're so pleased that they are joining us again today. Please welcome for remarks Mr. Don Thomas, President.
Good evening. Kim and Regional Chamber, thank you very much for another opportunity to get in front of the group and have a conversation. As Kim said, my name is Don Thomas. I'm the President and Managing Partner at Platts Realty. Platts is a commercial real estate company. We only do commercial real estate. We don't do anything in residential. And I say that somewhat proudly because as we get out there and we look at the marketplace, we look at what's happening, and everybody here knows what's happening with houses and the demand for houses. The commercial real estate world is equally as demanding, and what we try to do is focus solely in commercial real estate. So we've got 15 agents that serve Northeast Ohio. We're getting set to add 4 people over in Western Pennsylvania, and we think we have a wonderful opportunity to continue to grow and serve the communities. We want to try and inch down to Canton and keep ourselves busy. The way we go about our business is a little bit different than what most people, everybody here has probably bought or sold a house or two along the way. And so the way we do our businesses, our business is a little bit different. The commercial real estate world is a lot about numbers. And so the emotion that goes into buying a house, buying an apartment, buying a condominium is different in the commercial real estate world. It's all about the numbers. It's about how much money I can make, how much money as an investor I can turn back, cap rates, working with the folks at a lot of the banks, working with them to see what can happen. The opportunities in commercial real estate right now have never been greater. And they primarily center on multifamily housing, flex space warehouse, and if luck would have it, retail. A lot of glass storefronts getting repurposed in our area. And so as we look out on the marketplace, we see opportunities for people in this room to come in, and if you're not in real estate, if you haven't invested, there's an awful lot of liquidity out in the market. There's a lot of money wanting to be lent to go out and make investment. I look at the opportunities in the Mahoning Valley, and I'm a native of Poland, and I don't know that there's ever been a time in my lifetime that there's been a better opportunity to be in the Mahoning Valley. As you look out, the things that are going on in Lordstown, the pieces that are downtown Youngstown. I asked this question a couple days ago in front of a group. Anybody here been down to the business incubator? I would encourage everybody to take a minute and go down and look at what's happening in the business incubator. The technology that's down there is incredible. Additive manufacturing, 3D printing, we should be shouting that from the highest mountaintops globally because we're the world leader in 3D printing and additive manufacturing. It's an excellent opportunity for people to invest. It's an excellent opportunity for people that come in from outside the area to come in and take a look at our valley. Currently, we're working with some folks from out of the country. South Korea has looked at our area, and everybody's heard about the battery plants. But what the South Koreans did is they went out and they went back to South Korea and they said, hey, look, we've been to California and Washington and down south. You need to go look at this Northeast Ohio because it's really good. And there's great opportunities here for investment, both here locally and ultimately out of country, out of area. And so I say all that to say I'm proud to be a part of what we're doing. I greatly appreciate the partnerships that we have. The Chamber has been a wonderful partner for us for a long time. And again, I thank Kim for the opportunity to get in front of you, spend a few minutes. If you have questions, please grab me. We're going to hang around, and we've got some agents here as well. Please grab us, and you guys enjoy your dinner and enjoy your evening. Kim, thanks.
Thank you again, Don, and to your entire team for your partnership with our organization and all of your effort and support for our entire community. And finally, I would like to thank the Mahoning Career and Technical Center and Superintendent John Zettenbauer and his team for their support this evening. We've held several of our Canfield events on the MCCTC's amazing campus, and whether it was in the high-tech Brooks Center or the restaurant where students made breakfast that was truly better than many restaurants I've eaten at in my lifetime. They're always wonderful hosts and have so many great things going on there for the students and the adults in their programming. We thank all of you for your service to our community. Can we please give the MCCTC and all of our sponsors a huge round of applause? Before we move on, I want to take a moment to give you an update on our last signature event of the year, the Economic Forecast Breakfast on November 4th. Warren native George Brown, Executive Director of the Ohio Oil and Gas Energy Education Program, will be joining us to keynote to talk about workforce development in the energy industry, and we will welcome back First National Bank's Ahmed El-Nakali, Managing Director of Capital Markets, to forecast the regional and national economy. This year, we will also present our inaugural Valley Champion Award to pro golfer and Valley native Jason Kokrak. This award was created to honor Youngstown-Warren area natives who have gone on to achieve greatness nationally and/or internationally and made our valley proud. Kokrak, who plays on the PGA Tour, currently ranks 11th, won 2 tournaments in 2021, and had 5 top 10 finishes. This is one event you won't want to miss, and as always, you can find more details at regionalchamber.com. Well, I am now so honored to turn our program over to a friend of mine, the council's, and the entire Canfield community. He has been part of the Canfield Area Council for several years and emceed this event many times over the years, and those were probably some of the most fun events we've ever had, even when he graded some of our speakers' presentations and their remarks when we held this event at Canfield High School several years back. And then he tried to move away from here for a job that undoubtedly was perfect for him. We have to drop or show pictures. It truly was perfect. But he decided that Canfield, his home, his roots, his family, was the place he really wanted to be. And so he came back home, and honestly, he and his heart belong right here in this community. And we are grateful that he agreed to return to help us with our shenanigans this evening. So please welcome to present our Canfield Business Pride Award and introduce our speakers, Mr. Craig Olson.
Mayor, the ox came with me. They're in the backyard. That's all right, isn't it? Okay, thank you very much. Mark, Jeff, and Dawn, thank you for coming to the community and making this place your home as well. Now, Mark, I'm going to ask you a question. You may not know the answer. You can consult with your table. One of the stores or businesses that used to be where your expansion has taken place, can you name one? It had something to do, one I'm thinking of had something to do with hardware. Claire?
Sir?
Go ahead, shout out the name.
Manchester.
Oh, well, that's really old. I mean, that's even before us. I was thinking Tom White.
Tom White.
Yeah, you probably never knew Tom. He was incredible. When you were growing up, you'd take your kids in there and Flo would give you a quarter for your A's. And you'd walk in, if you needed a screw, he'd said, I know it's up in that corner. Get a ladder and go up and get it. I mean, it was just amazing, and it's part of your facility, and we thank you for incorporating the history of that. There's just so many opportunities of history in Canfield. I was the first class to go through the new high school. You know our new high school? Well, it was when I went through it. It was 1966 it opened. So I was the first class that graduated in 1970 that spent 4 years in high school. George Roman spent 3 years. Debbie spent 2. Anybody spent 1? Probably Bruce. But anyhow, that we still refer to it as the new high school. And in 6th grade, I actually went to the Presbyterian Church because we didn't have quite the facilities necessary to incorporate the abundance of people that brought their kids in at that time. But we've all watched Canfield grow. It's a spectacular community. I went away for 4 years of college, came back. My mother made my father hire me. I thought I could have got another job, but no, she said go to work there, so I did, and I stayed in the business and until I retired. And then this was the first part of my retirement career. I just love Williamsburg, but due to some economic realities, as you mentioned, Don, about having a house in Canfield and looking for, you know, an abode in Williamsburg, Virginia, didn't work out quite so well. So I brought the ox, and she and he and myself all came home, and I watched every movie for Netflix I could watch. And now I have a new career. Gail McCullough, I believe you're here. Could you stand up for a minute? Yeah, I don't know whether you know Gail, but Gail's a lifelong, well, Gail's wife's a lifelong resident, which makes him a lifelong resident. But Gail owns the Chick-fil-A franchise in Boardman, Poland area out by South Avenue. And he graciously consented to hire me. And I've never done this kind of work in my life. I figured, oh, it can't be that hard. Well, I've learned to walk, but we call it running, 37 miles a week, just taking food from one place to another. And Gail shows up and he comes in, wants to help out, and I finally find out that most of the people say, Gail, there's a phone call for you. He screws it up every time he comes in. But, you know, thank you for the opportunity. Moving ahead, we have our first update would be to present our 16th Canfield Area Council Business Pride Award. Now, if I recall correctly, and somebody can help me here, but I believe this particular group, the Armstrong Lanes, is now located on 224, but I believe it was an offshoot of the original bowling lanes in Canfield. Anybody know the name of that? Canfield Colonial Lanes. It was where Giant Eagle is. We even had when you walk one from one side to the other side, we had a parkade. I remember riding my bike, taking drum lessons down there. A lot of fun. But here's another one, Armstrong Lanes. Does anybody know where that name came from?
Norma backwards.
That's right. Spell Armstrong backwards. It's Norma. And that's when they opened the facility out there. It's been a great facility. They've been so gracious to the schools to host a Christmas party and just have done a wonderful job in the community. I believe we have a video.
My name is Jim Diver. My mom and dad built this 23 years ago. They built this from ground up, and it was just like a dream of my mom's to always own a bowling center. We try to focus on being a family-oriented business. We enjoy all league bowling, but we do a lot of special needed groups, a lot of birthday parties, special functions for schools. So we really want the community to use it as a family get-together. So that's what we pride ourselves on, as a family business and also as a family-oriented group to come in and enjoy as family time and quality time. We actually got a PBA stop this year, which was kind of fun. It was a regional, so it was nice. People actually stopped in to just watch the Professional Bowlers Bowl, which was actually kind of exciting. We are going to have one again next year, whether it be the PBA Senior or the PBA Regional. We don't know, but we are planning on one next year. I have 5 brothers and a sister, so there is hope for us kids to keep it going, but my mom still bowls here 2 days a week. They still check on it daily, and it's still theirs, and they're very proud owners, and we take pride in making it clean and bright for our people to come in and hope they enjoy it as much as we have owning it. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone in Canfield for voting for us and allowing us to be honored to have this award. It's a great privilege to be in the city of Canfield. We take pride in it. The people are great. The police officers are great. The firemen are great. It's just a truly wonderful city to live in, and we are very honored to accept this award. And we take it in pride, and we'll display it in pride. And again, thank you for everyone that voted for us and allowing us to accept this honor. Thank you.
For of you who may not know, this award was created to honor businesses located within the township or city limits of Canfield and that exemplify ethical, moral, and professional standards in their workplace and have visibly contributed to the local economic development. Companies are evaluated on business ethics and professionalism, longevity and probability for growth, community outreach, physical plant, investment, and commitment to Canfield and respectability as an employer. So we're very pleased to present the 2021 award to Amron Lanes, and I'm sure they will be equally as pleased to accept it when they can. Okay, now we move on to the updates. Mayor, do you have your watch? Yeah. I have one too. Okay, just want to let you know. It is my distinct pleasure to honor another. By the way, Don, you did say Poland, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, don't let that go.
I said that for a reason.
Canfield is, okay, and just acknowledge the fact that we have continued to use you as a, you know, kind of a broom in everything that we do, but that's okay. I understand. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our, now, I don't want you to misinterpret this. The outgoing mayor doesn't give me great pleasure. It's the great pleasure is because you're here. The fact that you're outgoing has nothing to do with the great pleasure. But I'd like to welcome our illustrious mayor, Richard Duffin.
Good evening. On behalf of the city of Canfield, I'd like to thank Craig and Kim and the Youngstown Regional Chamber for hosting this great event. Also, I'd like to thank our fine event sponsors, Farmers National Bank, Platts Realty Group, 898 Marketing, and the Mahoning County Career Technical Center. Friends, it sure is nice to all be together again in person for this great event. This is a great event in Canfield, I think one of the finest. Although we could not gather last year due to COVID, I believe we are still not out of the woods versus this invisible enemy. If you've not been vaccinated, I respectfully encourage you to get your shot for yours and others' protection. The leadership of the city of Canfield is a team effort. When introduced, I ask each of our leadership team members to stand and remain standing until all our leaders are introduced. City Council President John Boardman, Councilman Anthony Nacarado, Councilman and mayoral candidate Bruce Neff, Councilman Chuck Tisch, who is unable to make it this evening, City Manager Wade Calhoun, and our Police Chief Chuck Palucci. Thank you, we have a great team. This evening, I'd like to briefly update you in 3 areas. Our comprehensive plan, a few items that you'll see on the November ballot, and our village green. Over the last few years, the city has taken a proactive approach in preparing for our future. We have collaborated regionally to explore ways in which we can better serve residents and facilitate growth in our great Canfield community. As part of these efforts, we engaged MS Consultants, Inc., a Canfield company, to lead us through a comprehensive planning process. The Canfield Comprehensive Plan is a reflection of 18 months of analysis, meetings, and community engagement. The process involved extensive participation from local residents, business owners, and many community stakeholders. Working together, a roadmap was identified to lead Canfield toward sustainable development and an enhanced quality of life. Importantly, the plan is centered on aspirations of the community and the local treasures that make Canfield a great place to live, shop, dine, work, and visit. The comprehensive plan explores a range of topics, including housing, land use, parks and recreation, transportation, and our beautiful village green. Each of these topics is significant, and it will be very exciting as we bring this plan to life. I thought that was the mic. I think it's the tornado. That might short me up. Some key opportunities addressed in our comprehensive plan are development plans for 4 residential areas, including the city's Redgate Farm, a downtown revitalization plan, a utility growth plan, solutions to our corridor traffic study on Route 224, and a unique Canfield bicycle loop designed to link the Mill Creek Metro Parks bike and walking path to all the major assets in our city. These are a few of the exciting outcomes from our comprehensive plan, and there are much more to come. Next, I'd like to update you on a few items that you will see on the November ballot. The first item is the Canfield Police Levy. This is just a renewal, so no new taxes. I ask you to support our police levy and vote for this police levy renewal. Let me tell you why. Several years ago, we needed to put this police levy on the ballot because of cuts we received from the state of Ohio to the tune of $1.1 million. So back in 2017, our voters passed a police levy that generated $750,000 annually. This income allowed us to return to full police staffing by funding 5 full-time police officers, upgrade our police radios, and replace one of our aging cruisers. As you know, our Canfield Police Department does an outstanding job of serving and protecting us. They also do a fantastic job of community policing, evidenced by the great planning of events, several of them that you've attended on our village green. Our police have become integral members of our community. Did you know, just a few months ago, our police department received prestigious statewide recognition as the Police Agency of the Month for community engagement in the entire state of Ohio. Therefore, our Canfield police do their job and have earned our respect and support, and I strongly urge you to vote for our police levy renewal. The city is hopeful that this will be the last police levy we will have to ask of our residents, as the city should have, in the future, sufficient revenue stream from these 4 residential developments that I referred to, and additional business growth within our city. Second, we are also very proud of our professional Cardinal Joint Fire District. Like our police department, you will see our Cardinal Joint Fire District levy on the ballot for renewal. Again, this is just a renewal, no new taxes. Please know the 3 fire stations of our Cardinal Joint Fire District professionally serve both our city and our township. Did you know that we are the only fire department that operates 3 full-time paramedic ambulances? So, should you need transported to the hospital, only your insurance is going to be billed. Therefore, there will be no out-of-pocket expenses. We are extremely fortunate here in Canfield to have such outstanding safety forces in our community. I ask you to support both our police and Cardinal Joint Fire District by voting for both of these renewal levies. Third, I would like to comment on our established charter form of government. Our city has been extremely well served by our city charter since 1968. Please know our charter is professionally reviewed every 5 years by a charter commission. What you need to understand is that these proposed amendments originated outside of the city. It did not get reviewed by our charter commission. I ask you to vote against these 3 amendments. Our current charter already states that the mayor and 4 city council members hire and evaluate the city manager. This does not need to be changed. Regarding council members' term, I believe we should leave the term alone and have it remain at 4 years, not shorten it up to just 2 years. Again, I ask you to vote against all 3 proposed amendments to our city charter. Lastly, I'd like to share a few comments regarding the usage of our beautiful village green. It is truly one of the beautiful city treasures that we all enjoy. Our entire leadership team is unanimous in the thoughts of expanding the usage of our village green to a greater extent than ever before in order to have, and you've seen it, more community events and more family events for all ages. We have supported many charitable nonprofits to utilize our village green to a greater extent than ever before to bring awareness to their health and safety messages such as pediatric brain tumors and other devastating cancers that you've seen highlighted on the green. If your nonprofit is interested in utilizing our green for an event, please contact our city manager, Wade Calhoun, at City Hall for details. To stay current with all city announcements and village green events, visit our website, canfield.gov, or our Facebook and other social media sites that you see listed. We believe bringing us all together for informative, entertaining, and meaningful events up on our village green epitomizes our slogan, Canfield, the city that cares. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are truly blessed to live or work in Canfield. We have so much to be thankful for. Our beautiful and safe city and township, our exemplary Canfield School District, our beautiful neighborhoods, our fine safety forces, and our growing business community. Back when I moved away from Canfield for several years while I was in college and then later on active duty in the Navy, I moved 13 times to various cities throughout the world. It was during these moves that I developed an eye-opening perspective and keenly became aware of just how special, how unique and charming it is right here back home in Canfield, Ohio. And when I reflected on why, I realized it was primarily because of you, our fine Canfield people, that make our Canfield community so very special. As my term winds down as your mayor, I thank you for providing me the opportunity to serve you these past 4 years. It's been a unique opportunity of a lifetime to be the mayor of the town where you grew up, where you went to school, and I thank you very much for this privilege and honor.
Mayor, thank you, because I definitely feel that you've raised the bar for the person to follow you. So thank you for everything you've done as well. Just a quick announcement, those sirens you hear in the background, I've had a conversation with Chief Galucci, who is the authority on site, and he said, oh, well, don't worry about it, they're just running late. So the tornado warning has passed, is that correct? So everything is good? Ignore the sirens? Okay, ignore all the cell phones that are going off and everything? Okay, we're good, all right. Next, I'd like to introduce another integral part of this community. Marie is Cartwright. Marie is also a long-time Canfield resident. Marie moved a few times too, Richard. I believe her dad was in the Navy, so she probably moved those same 17 times to other places around. But Marie has really come back from her business ventures and really integrated herself into this community and done a tremendous job working with the township folks. Marie?
Good evening. You're a little taller, Craig. Good evening and welcome to Canfield Township, which is where this beautiful facility is located. But before I begin our update tonight, I'd like to introduce the other Canfield Township trustees, Brian Governor, Joe Pulaski, as well as our fiscal officer, Denise Joseph, our zoning inspector, Tracy DeCapua, our public works employees, Bob Burkett, Sean Stack, and Brian Sheely, who are all here and present this evening. Keith Rogers, our township administrator, and Cindy Williams, who is the trustee's administrative assistant, weren't able to join us this evening. But they're very integral to our township, and we do appreciate all of our employees. Now, to begin our update on the township, we'll begin right across the street from this facility. Oh, we'll go back one. There we go. As you pulled into the facility this evening, you probably noticed the piles of dirt across the street, which will become the home of a 100-room Spring Hill Suites, a Marriott product that will be joining the Westford development. Additionally, sorry guys, we're really off. Additionally, a 129-room assisted independent living facility is being planned as well in that same location, and there will be underground parking for 95 vehicles. Route 224, close to the intersection of Raccoon Road, has already seen 3 new tenants added to this plaza. Additionally, a professional building on South Raccoon Road, across from the Ironwood Boulevard entrance, will soon be underway, while the former Something New space will be the home to 3 new tenants, including a Papa John's with the drive-thru. Another space re-tenanted is the former P. Barry's Cafe, which is now home to Napa Grocery. Further down 224 at Star Center, there's a lot of activity with the addition of the Mac House. A new professional building is nearing completion. Additional professional establishments will be added to the 4 lots in the cul-de-sac. Moving on to residential development, so far this year, there have been 41 new home permits in Canfield Township, valued at over $10.5 million. In a typical year, we have 31 to 32 new home starts. So, obviously the pandemic and the increased cost in building goods has not stopped development in Canfield Township. Gene Russo is busy with additions to 3 of his existing developments. Summer Wind is in its final phase and the majority of the lots are sold. Macy Lane is located off Ironwood Boulevard next to the inn at Ironwood Assisted Living. There are 29 lots there, 7 have already been permitted. Ken Zuzik is in the final development phase of Abbey Road, which is located off of Summit Road. New home starts continue in Westford with Langston Run, which is located between Summit Road and South Raccoon. And this evening, Chuck was telling me he thought there were 18 homes going in down there, and he thought the majority of those were already starting construction. So I'm not sure about the permitting yet, so I'll talk to our zoning inspector about that. I may have missed something. Charles Gate is a subdivision of Westford which will encompass large estate homes in a gated community. There are already 14 scheduled for that location, and Chuck says he's got 18 folks that want that, so he's got a challenge ahead of him. Millennial Moments is the Joint Economic Development District, which is located at Route 224 and Palmyra Road, where the developer Frank Amedia has begun work with the stormwater infrastructure along the western side of the property and sanitary line installation. This is the Phase 1 development. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you will see that the custom home lots there, 27 through 36, front South Palmyra Road, if you're familiar with that area. The township has lots of other projects that it's working on, just not all the new business starts or the new home starts. For instance, we work hand in hand with the ABC Water and Stormwater District. This year, they were able to help fund street sweeping, the Indian Run watershed study, catch basins, curb and gutter replacements for a total of $247,476. According to the Ohio Revised Code, townships are responsible for their roads and cemeteries. This year, we will be paving Catawba Drive, Westington Drive, Jamison Place, St. Andrews Drive, St. Andrews Court, and 21 South Broad Street where our township hall is. Our Dean Hill Cemetery is in the 4th year of a headstone restoration program. And we were able to secure a grant from the Mahoning County Commissioners for $70,000 for a new handicap ramp at the Township Hall. And as of this week, our Public Works Department has started leaf collection in the township. Now you can find information regarding that on the township website and lots of other information about all the good things happening in the township. And with that, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Marie. Since you did choose the Halloween theme, would you care to announce the date of trick-or-treating?
On Sunday, October 31st, from 5 to 7, is it not, gentlemen? And that is for both the city and the township.
It's a great cooperative effort that we have between the city and the township, and that kind of leads me to our next presenter. The one entity we have that covers every square mile of the city and the township, besides the fire department, is our local schools. And I'd like to welcome Joe Knoll, who's been the superintendent now for year two. Okay, thank you very much. And Joe comes to us, he comes to us from a long career in education. He's a fabulous individual. I've known Joe for a number of years, and we are very glad to have you and thankful that you came to Canfield. Joe Knoll.
All right, appreciate it. Well, greetings from Canfield Schools. We have 3 board members and my treasurer. So board members and treasurers, how about stand if you don't mind? Mr. Capitol President, Mr. Wilkinson, stand up. Mr. Campbell in the back, and our treasurer, Ms. Prince. I'm a big guy about having a theme for each year. So I met with the administrative team over the summer, and you know what we're dealing with schools. COVID, masks, no masks, all that fun stuff, right? So we had some good conversations, but at the end of the day, our theme became every cardinal counts. And it's this mental health and wellness piece and how we got to take care of one another. I don't know if you've flown lately, I haven't, but I remember the flight attendant would do all these things, you know, the exits and all this good stuff, and then he or she would grab that mask. You remember that? If the mask comes down, what are you instructed to do? Put it on who? Yourself. You put it on yourself. Okay? And there's a reason for that. You can't take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself. And that's been our vision, our mission for this year. In schools, this is a time like no other. This is year 34 for me. I mean, we have never been under so much stress and grief and tension, especially as school leaders. So this theme is coming great, and for me, it's all about self-care. I'm big into school safety. I think most of you in this room know that, and to me, there's like 2 pieces. There's the hardening piece, police department. They deter, defend, detect. The other piece of this is the heartening piece, and that's where this mental health and wellness comes into play. I'm all about making connections. If I can connect a kid to a team, an activity, or to a trusted adult, we have a chance with our young people. And I'm going to talk about both of those silos here for a little bit about what's going on specifically in Canfield. I know this picture is kind of hard to see, but to your left there, you can see our school building. This is for our police and fire departments. Every one of our rooms has a number to it. So if I need help and the PD comes and I say it's room 201, they can roll up on our building and see, here's where that room begins and ends. That's important if we would have like an active shooter type of situation. The right-hand side is an example of you don't walk into to doors in our buildings anymore. Back in the day, you could. Now, unfortunately, we have a buzzer system. If we don't like what we see or hear, you're not coming in, okay? This is awesome. If you haven't been in the high school in the front lately, this is what you'll see. The whole idea about school safety is out of sight, out of mind. You can't see into that foyer like you used to. This is an awesome project by the PTA. They did this on their own. It's a beautiful schematic. I mean, those gals, our PTA is amazing. One thing I learned in Canfield, what a good group of people to work with. And this is another piece of our hardening efforts. Beginning of the school year, we had some PD. I know those things are a little out of kilter there, but we spent time, once again, self-care, taking care of others. All of our classified, like bus drivers, cafeteria people, were certified in AED, CPR, and HIMAC, okay? Brought to us free of charge by one of our local hospitals, which was awesome. 2 weeks ago, I had a gal from the cafeteria come in and say, you know what, Mr. Knoll? My husband was choking at the dinner table at the restaurant. Kind of caught my attention. She says, I grabbed him around the waist and I did what you trained us to do. Now, she gave away to her son, who had a little better hold on Dad, and squeezed that food right out of his mouth. And I told the staff, if we help one person, it's well worth our time and effort. On the right-hand side is something called Stop the Bleed. Our local fire department came in free of charge and coached up all of my teachers on tourniquets and Stop the Bleed. In a crisis situation, we are the first responders. We love our fire department, but it's really on us. Okay, so that was another part of our hardening efforts that we spent some time on. This is right up to PD Alley as well, district threat assessment teams. Okay, we have those in Canfield. The Ohio Revised Code says we're required to do it. We're a couple years ahead of the curve, which is awesome. Always glad to talk about that. This is a situation where we assess and take a look at threats that are made by kids, community members, whatever it might be, social media, sadly. We spent a lot of time on that. But these teams are in place to be able to deal with those kind of situations. This is a safety bucket, and I'm going to give a shout out to Miss Claire out there, wherever you are, from Chick-fil-A, because they're helping me with buckets. You might think this is funny, but that's a toilet if we need it. That's a safety bucket. All those things are in there, tourniquets, safety guards, but if we get locked down, if the chief comes in and says, nobody's leaving for 4 hours, guess what? We're not leaving for 4 hours, and we got to be prepared. So it's another piece of those hardening efforts we put into place. Now, let me shift gears to more of the fun stuff and the good stuff. These are the hardening efforts that we're working on in Canfield. This is something I'm passionate about. Most of you know I have a son with special abilities. We put on our first annual, and I said annual because it's going to continue hopefully as long as I'm here, Champions Day. We brought kids with special abilities, their teachers and aides, to Canfield, okay, for a 2-hour time period, and they had a game day experience. We had the band. They ran out of the tunnel. All right, they got to hear the music. They got their name announced. My son came from my home district. All right, I just had to bring him, of course. I couldn't do without that. And put him in his wheelchair, rolled him out. It was a great day. Our typical peer kids in all the sports were part of the picture you see there. Coming down, every sport was there. They coached up the kids. We rotated. We went from group to group. And I met a woman at a volleyball game the other day, and she said, are you the superintendent? Now, that's always a loaded question, just for the record. I said, well, I am. She said, my son from Austintown came to your Champions Day. She said, I couldn't believe how well run it was. And I said, well, to be honest with you, I've done this in my prior world, so I kind of had a good idea. But then she made this comment. She says, no, the kids that were running the groups act like they've done it for years. And I said, you know what? They did. Every one of these kids took the special abilities kids, wherever they were, and took them. Like my son got tired of playing. So we pushed him off to the side, and the volleyball girl came over and grabbed the ball and just played catch with him. There were some tennis players that, the kids didn't want to, they couldn't go no more because we were working them hard for 2 hours. They just sat on the floor. A couple of girls came over and just rolled the balls back down. I mean, it was amazing to me. The picture on the right, I was up in the bleachers, and I said this at a board meeting, and I'll say it again. This is what superintendents should be doing. This was 2 hours of my life where when it was done, the hymn that came to me is, it is well with my soul. And after 2 hours, man, was it awesome. So we're going to keep doing it. We're going to get bigger, we're going to get better, but it was a great day. We do something called Start With Hello at all of our buildings. Just ways to connect with kids, do some fun activities. PBIS is big, it's big around the state, it's big in Canfield. You know, basically it talks about creating good school culture, a good school climate. It's about behaviors, and the best thing is catch kids doing something what? Good. All right, catch them doing something good. And there's rewards and incentives, all kinds of fun stuff that goes along with that. So we're working hard on that piece. I gave kids a day off a couple weeks ago on a Friday, and I told the kids, I was doing some talking today in Ms. Eaton's class, I said, if we're not going to have school, it better be for a dang on good reason. This was one. Our teachers were trained in mental health first aid and our red flags training. And basically what this is this. I'm not an expert in mental health and wellness. I'm smarter than a typical person just because of my life experiences probably. But we taught our teachers, okay, how to recognize signs of depression, anxiety, suicidal type of things. And it's not our job to diagnose or fix people. We give them to the professionals that do that for a living, but our job was to identify those kids in need. And we spent a whole day in Canfield with the teaching staff going over this piece of the puzzle. And it was a hard day. It's hard to talk about those types of things. But to me, that's what we got to do. You know, that's that whole heartening piece. We connect with kids. We answer the questions. We're there for them when they need us. Last piece of the puzzle, you got to put your money where your mouth is. I can't stand up and talk to Canfield about mental health and wellness and counseling if we don't put resources there. So we hire this group, Valley Counseling, to come in and give us some extra help, give us some hours, give us some times. What I'm hearing from people in the field is it's hard to get an appointment. There's weeks, months that you have to wait to be able to talk to people, and that's not good. So we hired them in and brought them to Canfield. This year also, with the blessing of the board, which I greatly appreciate, we hired an extra elementary counselor. And let me tell you why. Last year, I had 400 total kids that never came to school in person. They did online, okay? Which was fine. You know, parents were concerned, kids were concerned, I get it. But this year, we're all coming back. Because I believe you got to be in person. That's my personal opinion. You're in person, we can help you with the social mental health. But I was worried about those kids that hadn't been in that building for over a year. So we spent time and money. We hired an elementary counselor for our youngest learners to come in and work with those kids and those families if issues have arisen. I got to be honest with you, our kids are resilient and they're awesome. Those kids aren't missing a beat. They're not missing a beat, which is exciting. And I'm glad to have back in the house. So our theme again, every cardinal counts, and it's not just a logo, it's not just a shirt. We're spending time, effort, money, talents on that. I'm really proud of what this year has brought this far. Not quite into it 9 weeks, but you know, some days we're hanging on by a thread. Not gonna lie to you, it's been a challenge, but it's all been good stuff. And I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm really excited and happy to announce, not for the first time, but maybe just a little more publicly, our Board of Education is looking at a new school building project, to your point, okay? And I'm excited. You guys know my office is in a 1924 school building. You know that, right? That's the middle school. That's where my office is. So we're excited to have those conversations, and we're moving forward. We got some committees put together and having a great talk, great collaboration, and hopefully you're going to see something soon about getting our Canfield schools where they need to be, the buildings themselves. So thank you for your time.
Joe, it's good to see you starting to come out of your shell a bit. Appreciate that. So, well, I know. But everybody's been so concise. I mean, it's beautiful. Thank you. So we've allowed room tonight for another project that is very important to our area. I'd like to invite the Mahoning County engineer, Pat Giannetti, to come up and talk about the 0.25% sales tax on the November ballot. Pat, I want to tell you that you have had a tremendous endorsement on this project. Have you ever in your entire life heard Ron Verb ever support a tax? This is the first one. So tell us about it.
Well, good evening, everybody. I want to thank the Chamber, and I also want to thank Wade and Marie for allowing me to come here tonight and speak, and the 898 marketing team, they're working with us as well, and I can't say enough good about them. What a phenomenal group, and you walk in there and it's a little bit intimidating because they're all like 15 and they're all wizards at what they do, and just an amazing group, and I can't say enough good about them. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Pat Giannetti. I'm the Mahoning County engineer, and we have a proposed sales tax on the ballot November 2nd. So I'd like to ask people in the room if you know how much of your property tax goes to the county engineer for roads. None of it. We receive $0 from property tax, and that's one of the probably the largest complaints that we receive at the county is I pay all this tax, why aren't my roads paved? And all of us want good roads. Roads bring business, they keep business. It's a major safety component for our first responders. And I'm going to go into a little bit of the history of our office and what this sales tax can do if it's passed. So I talk about stagnant revenues, rising costs, where do we go from here? So the county engineer's budget has been stagnant for well over 20 years. Every county engineer in the state of Ohio is funded solely from gas tax and license plate fees. We receive no sales tax, no property tax, no income tax. The gas tax in the state of Ohio is divided evenly 88 ways. We receive the same amount as our neighbor county, Columbiana, to the south, and I use them as an example, not to pick on them, but just to put it into perspective. Mahoning County is the 5th largest county in the state of Ohio with respect to road miles. We have just under 500 miles, 483 miles to be exact. Columbiana County has 169 miles. We get the same amount of gas tax money. Their budget's $8 million a year annually, ours is 11. Franklin County, where Columbus resides, 254 county miles. We're twice the size of Columbus. They have a $54 million budget. We have an $11 million budget. So it's a little difficult for us sometimes to do everything that we need to do. This slide here shows the comment I asked first about the property tax. It shows a small lot on one side, and I understand it's a little hard to read because it's small, in a city and a very large parcel in one of the townships. So regardless of where you live in our county, regardless of how big your property is, $0 comes to the county engineers. So a little history on our funding. The federal gas tax has not been increased since 1993. State gas tax was increased by 10 cents at the end of 2019, then COVID hit. So we have not seen what a full normal year of collections will produce. So our revenues have been down as a result of the overall sales on gasoline in the state of Ohio. Our county permissive fees were enacted in 1988 and 1991. We cannot raise our plate fees any higher. So our plate fees have been the same since 1991. This map here just shows an overall picture of the entire nation, combined federal and state gas tax. This slide here just shows whether you live in a city or in a township, how your license plate fees are divided up amongst the communities. And if anybody would like to see these, I can certainly send this slideshow to anyone that would like it. So I also like to talk about the significance of our funding. There's really no one-size-fits-all or silver bullet solution to the problem in Ohio. So if you raise the gas tax, the 3 smallest counties benefit the most from that because 72% of their budget is made up of gas tax. If you raise the license plate fees, the 3 largest counties benefit. Again, that's based on population, how many people are in your county, plated in your county. Mahoning County is kind of a blend of urban and rural. So we're kind of in the middle population-wise. So it would certainly help raising one versus the other, but it's not going to solve all of our problems instantly. This slide here just talks about the increase in construction materials related to highway construction. So in the last 2 decades, construction materials have nearly doubled. So we talk about the useful life of our asphalt roads. We need to realistically pave our roads every 7 to 10 years. We're in Northeast Ohio. We experience all 4 seasons. Freeze thaw wreaks havoc on us. Currently, the system that we inherited, we're on an average of about one road every 25 years. So that's really unacceptable. 1 5-year cycle of this sales tax brings our average down to about 12 to 13 years. So we're getting closer to the useful life of the asphalt pavement. I also like to mention some of the other things in our budget. We don't just simply pave roads and fix bridges. There's a lot of unknowns in our budget. Snow and ice is a major unknown. Tree clearing, and lately storm sewers. There's a lot of old infrastructure that we inherited that is beginning to fail, and oftentimes you don't know that it's failing until you start seeing sinkholes developing. So we've had a lot of that. You know, obviously snow and ice, you never know what Mother Nature's going to throw at us, and the price of salt every year seems to fluctuate. So to deal with stagnant declining revenues, there's 2 counties in the state of Ohio that have enacted sales tax that are dedicated to roads and bridges, Delaware County and Holmes County. Currently, Mahoning County has no road levy, no dedicated sales tax until we see what happens on November 2nd. And there's also no House Bill 26, which was a bill passed by the state legislature that enabled the county commissioners to impose an additional $5 fee. However, this wasn't a ballot issue, and our commissioners felt that the people needed a voice. They didn't want to impose a fee on anybody. Obviously, none of us like to be taxed, but at least with this, we have a voice. So it's on the ballot for everyone to express their opinion by voting yes or no. And if we vote yes, I'm going to show you what we can do with that. So a 1/4% sales tax for a 5-year period will generate approximately $9 million. Myself, county engineer, met with all 14 townships multiple times discussing how can we do things differently in this county. My budget, as I mentioned, has been stagnant for well over 20 years. I started at the engineer's office in 2013. One of the first things we did was a pavement condition rating, where we rated all of the roads in the county. 2/3 of our roads rated D or F. We also did a performance audit to see what part of the office was functioning correctly and efficiently, which parts weren't. I came from the private sector, brought in a little bit of a different mindset to the office. So in the last 8.5 years, I've developed a very good relationship with our township trustees, our cities and villages, and I'm kind of a no-nonsense. I call it how it is. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. You don't always get the answer you want, but I don't like to sugarcoat things. I like to be direct and upfront with you. So with the townships, we wanted to determine allowable uses for this money. So we came up with 4 categories: safety, roadway, bridges, and grants and loans. All of us apply for grants, as you heard the city talk, the township talk. We rely on these grants. With these grants, though, we have local matches, whether it's a state grant or a federal grant. If our budgets don't increase, how do we come up with the additional money for the local share? You know, we were recently awarded a $5 million grant in Jackson Township for the Mahoning Avenue Industrial Corridor, which will cover Mahoning Avenue and Rosemont Road between Route 45 and Duck Creek, and on Rosemont from Mahoning Avenue to Block Road. With that $5 million grant, we have to come up with $1 million local match. That's 10% of my budget. So again, if our budget does not increase, where do we come up with that additional funding? We also wanted to make sure that the residents were aware, if this passes, absolutely none of this money can be used towards salaries, equipment, or buildings. So money generated to improve our roadways and infrastructure have a tremendous impact on our first responders. And this actually came to light at one of the township meetings early on. I've been going to township meetings every evening speaking, or events like this, whoever will allow me to talk. And the police chief, the fire chief in Green Township and the police chief from Goshen were there, and they brought up the wear and tear on their vehicles, on a fire truck and on a police car. Not only the normal wear and tear on a smooth road, but when you put them on a bumpy road, you guys can't slow down. You have to get to the call. We can't afford to have our first responders slow down because of the condition of our road. Then, if you're transporting somebody to and from a hospital, that can also pose some major difficulties and challenges. So this is not only about having smooth roads, this is a major safety upgrade. So what does a 1/4% cost? On $100, it adds an additional quarter. On $10,000, it adds $25. One note to make, 35 to 40% of the sales tax generated in this county comes from out-of-county residents. So I'm going to go through a couple maps, and I've only got a few more slides, so I'll wrap this up quickly to not bore you any longer. So 2021 OPWC stands for Ohio Public Works Commission. This is our state-funded grants that we compete with all of the townships, villages, and cities in this county and Trumbull County. There's about $10 million in the Ohio Public Works Commission for our district. $10 million is not a lot of money for all of those communities. Any one of us in this room could probably take all $10 million and still not fix everything we need to fix. But we understand we have to work together and try to spread this money out best we can. So this is our 2021 paving program. You can see a lot of white space in there, and that goes back to what I said earlier. As our budget remains flat and the cost of materials, labor, inflation continues to rise, we're doing less and less every year. This is what next year's paving program looks like. Again, you're starting to see more white space, which is not good. We have a federal paving program that we've been successful in being able to move it up 2 years, and hopefully we're going to be paving this next year. These are federal aid routes within the county. It's an 80-20 grant, so we have a 20% local match. It's a $2.5 million paving program. This shows 3 federal projects, one on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown, which we recently completed the paving. We're going through punch list items now. Next year, 2022 and 2023, we have 2 phases of South Avenue, which are also federally funded. So the next 5 slides, I'm going to show you each year of this sales tax, what we can do. These are conservative estimates because we have not yet factored in the impact of grants that we will apply for. 1, it's premature to apply for the grants because they're not ready. And 2, when we apply for grants, we have to certify and commit to the local match. So we can't get the cart too far in front of the horse. So these are conservative estimates, and our goal is to grow this plan as we attach grants to this money. Our goal also is to be in every township every year until we get every county road in that township paved. So this is year 1 of the sales tax. Year 2, year 3, 4, and 5. This is a complete 5-year plan. Now this is only county roads. One thing that I didn't mention, the meetings that I had with the Township Association, we agreed to share in the cost or split the monies. So of the $9 million that's generated each year, $4 million will go to the county engineer for pavement, for roads. We're going to dedicate 100% of that to roads. $4 million goes to the 14 townships because they have needs as well. The additional $1 million goes into infrastructure that the county owns and operates within the city limits. We have 25 bridges in the city of Youngstown, 6 in the city of Struthers, 2 in Lowville, 3 in Sebring. So we have county infrastructure within the cities. And I always like to say, we're not trapped in our community. We're going to drive out there, and we're going to be on a county road or a township road at some point in time. So this way, this passes, the entire county benefits. The next image here is complete 5 years of this sales tax, including the townships. Every township will benefit from this. We have several townships that are still working on their 5-year plan, but this gives you kind of an indication of what we can do in 5 years, and that's pretty impressive. Every county road will have been paved from when I started it in 2013. So that brings our 25-year average down to about 12 to 13 years. For more information, we have a website that, again, the 898 group put together. We also have flyers, Residents for Better Roads, giving information about this, and that's my presentation. I appreciate your time, allowing me to talk. If anybody has questions, I'll wait in the back. Thank you.
Pat, thank you. I know you put in a lot of personal time and energy into this project, and we hope for the best. Okay, before we get to the presentation of the Spirit of Canfield Award, I'd like to call on George Roman to come up here and talk to us a little bit about the Canfield Fair and in terms of what they have experienced over the last 2 years as well. Oh, there you are. Stand up, please.
Well, first of all, thank you to the chamber, to the council that meets on certain mornings. We eat breakfast and we have a good time trying to plan all this, but especially to all of you for sharing your time with us this evening. That makes it all that much more special. But I do have one question. Mark, what year did you say the Farmers Bank was established? 1887. You're the new kid on the block, right. The Canfield Fair was established in 1846, and we went through all the adversities that the Canfield Farmers National Bank has gone through. But this year it seems like it was even more difficult because we were on pins and needles the whole time. As you know, there was a kind of a surge just before the fair was to open, and we didn't know what was going to happen. The governor could have shut us down at any minute, and then if he waited till the day before, that would have been a complete disaster for everyone. But we lucked through it, and we made it, and thanks to all of you for attending the fair. It was a great year for us. We accomplished many things, and almost to a person, everyone said, oh, we were so thankful that you had the Canfield Fair again. So that again goes extended appreciation to all of you for coming out. So that's the fair. We're all here for the Spirit Award, the Canfield Spirit Award. This is given to an individual and focused on that person's overall contributions to the city and township, rather than exclusively on his or her business contributions. These generous individuals constantly give of their time and resources and make us even more proud that we live, work, and play in Canfield. Our criteria is simple, but it's also all-inclusive. For this award, focusing on 3 areas. We focus on community involvement, involvement in the Canfield schools, and business accomplishments or promotion of businesses. And the council felt that this award would be even more special to the recipient if they weren't aware that they were receiving it. But rest assured, our recipient is here this evening. So, you know, whenever you make a big announcement, you have a drum roll. So, if we could have a drum roll, that's part of it. Kim? All right, that's enough. Let's have a real drum roll. As most of you know, my wife and I have lived in Canfield almost forever, and we're involved in the band. And it seems like the bass drum was always an integral part of a band, right? Always there. Kim, I think you want to take the microphone.
Do you want to announce it first?
Do I have to?
Do we want to guess?
Well, if you haven't already figured it out, it's me. No. That's right. But the reason for the bass drum, and part of the way this young man grew up and became an individual that he is, kind of outspoken, never wants to be quiet, always up and down, running around, that bass drum was given to him when he was a freshman at Canfield High School. Had no knowledge of instrument playing, couldn't do anything. He could sing, but he couldn't play an instrument. So the band director gave him a bass drum. So if you haven't figured it out, our 2021 Spirit Award of Canfield goes to Mr. Craig Olson.
I was going to ask George if he had eaten one too many elephant ears at the fair, because we didn't really authorize that. However, we do have some special words from several people, and we want to start with your son, Kim.
Don't worry, Dad, I'm off the sauce for this one, so you're in luck. I am well aware of what I'm about to get into, and I accept full responsibility for sleeping in the basement or outside with the dogs for the next, whatever it may be. But I just wanted to say good evening, Canfield, and thank you all for being here tonight. I see my uncle's having a little bit of a hard time with the bass drum back there, but he was a computer guy, so that makes sense. But my father has proudly served this community in one way or another for 35 years. 35 years. That's a lot to even think about considering I'm only 27, going on 28, but you know, he's been around longer than I have, and he's been in this community a lot longer than I have. But I'm here today to be proud to tell you that you are the Spirit Award winner. 1. 2, this was supposed to be a roast for you, honestly, and I was going to light you up like there was no... I still can, but I promised Mom I'd be on my best behavior. I covered up my tattoos for you. I grew the mustache out. I'm doing the best I can here. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here to help honor my father in this award. And Mr. McCullough, thank you for getting him out of the house and out of my hair for the hours of the day. But if you need a puppy or another dog for a cow to maybe get in the suit, like I got 2 of those. And I mean, I got 8 siblings, so I mean, like, we're all ready to go Chick-fil-A whenever you need it. But thank you guys.
So this is going still to be a roast. So our next individual is Mr. Bill Kay. He was a longtime teacher in the Canfield school system. He's a former mayor for the city of Canfield, and he's quite an entertainer, and I've been told he's going to give Craig a roast.
You ready, Craig? Well, let me tell you this, I've known Craig longer than anybody in this room, except his family, of course. I think I met Craig in 1968, when I was the varsity basketball coach, and Craig was the head manager. And I'm going to tell you some incidents that very few people know, and after I tell you, perhaps you'll understand why Craig is like he is. For example, we used to have a drill. If practice went well, one of the assistant coaches would pick one of the better players, have him shoot 2 fouls. If he made 2 in a row, we didn't run. So you gauged. Well, one night things didn't go too well, so this assistant coach, he picks Craig to make 2 foul shots in a row. Craig couldn't make 2 foul shots in a row if you left him out there all night. And my gosh, he shoots the first one, boom, off the backboard right in. He shoots the second one, boom, hits the back of the rim, goes up near 15 feet, comes right through for the second one. He's a hero. They're carrying him off the floor. Here's Craig eating it up like this. He didn't look for the doorway when they carried him through the doorway. Hey, you remember that, Craig? You know, as the head manager, you have a lot of duties to do. You know, you got to set the clock up and everything. You got to greet the game officials when they come. You got to take the practice schedule down to the bus garage. Well, I get a call from Mr. Richards at the bus garage. He says, your manager's down here arranging for trip tickets for the buses. I said, I know. He goes, would you kindly explain to him that we don't need buses for the home games? I told Craig, escort the officials in, and after the game is over, as soon as they get off the field floor, lock the locker room so some crazy fan doesn't win and harass them. About 45 minutes after the game, we were pounding on the locker room door. I forgot to tell Craig to unlock the door and let the officials back out. So, you know, but Craig was a very integral part. He related well with the kids. One night was a very tough night. You know, it was a cut night. We were going to post a cut the following Monday. And I saw this one kid approach Craig. He goes, Craig, you're around. You know everything. He says, I got 3 days to practice. Tell me what I need to work on. Tell me what I need to work on. And I'm listening, and Craig says to the kid, you need to get taller and faster. I'll never forget the look on that kid's face. Okay, let's see. Craig graduated later that year, and I'm proud to tell you, he was in the upper 85% of his class. did well. Somehow, he was admitted to Wittenberg University. I don't know, some kind of clerical typo or something must have happened. But he got in there, and classes were to start on September 10th. Craig's mom and dad dropped him off July 15th. All records of Craig at the Wittenberg are permanently sealed. I don't know, some about some sorority house or something, I don't know. I'd like to comment on Craig's military experience. Back in the day, Vietnam was going on, and used to bring all the young men from Salem, Columbiana, Canfield to a central area and board a bus. And this was Canfield at the Village Green at 6 o'clock in the morning. Craig showed up, and there was a little band there with some parents, coffee and donuts, and 3 or 4 Canfield police officers. Thank God they were there, even though one of them got hurt trying to get Craig on the bus. But he got on there, and they were to go to Cleveland, take their physical, and go directly to basic training. That night at 6 o'clock, the bus returned with the bus driver and Craig. What happened, Craig? Well, the physical didn't go too well. They sent him back with strict orders, lose 20 pounds and get that blood pressure down. Craig went immediately downtown, ordered 2 pizzas with everything. And the next night, he got a job as a part-time night watchman at a bakery. He was great at that. Let me see here. Craig, I can't talk about that one. That's a no-no. He got a job as a claim adjuster. It was one of his first jobs. And it was Acme Insurance, a brand new insurance company. And there was a lady that lived near some railroad tracks, and she claimed that the railroad train came down so close, had so many vibrations that her great antique dishes fell and broke. So they sent Craig over. The boss says, Craig, get over there and meet with the lady and do your very best. Deny that claim. But don't cause our Acme Insurance Company any bad notoriety. Well, Craig went over and met with the woman. He goes, this couldn't happen. Yes, it could. The woman says, I'm telling you, I was lying in my bed over there beside that wall, and a train went by, and it shook and things fell. And Craig said, I still don't believe it. She says, well, you go lie by that bed and see what happens. So 3:15 will be here shortly. Craig went over and lied down in the bed. Just then, the woman's husband came to the door. Looked at Craig, and said, and Craig said, hey, don't look at me. I'm just here for I'm just here for the 3:15 train coming by. That's all. But the next day in the paper, the headlines of the Vindicator, I thought was pretty interesting. It said something to the effect of irate husband chases Acme Insurance adjuster. Fire department called the rescue agent from atop a telephone pole. Front page news for Craig. Then he got a job as an assistant Mahoning County dog warden. It's a beautiful job for Craig. His tenure was brief. He only lasted 1 day because he was bitten twice that day. Once by a chihuahua, and once by a little old lady who saw Craig sneaking up on her dachshund that was sleeping in the backyard. So he had a tough go. He hasn't always been as successful as he is right now. So disregard all those stories. Take them with the word. I did cut a lot of them out. I appreciate that. But even though Craig deserved this thing, I want everyone to discard its content and believe my closing statement as 100% accurate. Craig, there is no one who has demonstrated the love for our community and our school system as you have. You have truly bled red and black all your life. I am extremely proud of you, proud to call you my friend, and not ashamed to tell you I love you. Thank you.
Our next gentleman, a successful businessman in the county. How he ever got to be a good friend of Craig's, I'll never know. Mr. Mike Kovach.
Thank you very much. And I see this gentleman is definitely squirming in his shoes. Aren't you? Okay. I met Craig quite accidentally by a morning breakfast. And I would enjoy with my children every Thursday at Bob Evans. There we go. Well, Craig kind of joined in on us. We thought, in other words. So we decided one time to move the venue to, no, they weren't even in business yet, were they? Oh, maybe it was. So we had very nice breakfast for probably three weeks in a row, and then all of a sudden somebody found us. And there he was. And he's been a good friend ever since. We've traveled together, done a lot of things together. But George, I gotta tell you one thing. Next year, you better your nominees a little better. A simple background check on this gentleman would have nixed him forever, trust me. Did anyone ever question why he walks around with a camera? There you go, Kip. You're just as weird as him then. What are you doing with it? Oh, okay. Well, can you share that with the rest of us? No. Okay, I won't either. But he's a great guy. He's a great guy to travel with, a good friend, and God bless you, Craig. Congratulations.
And one more, we'll be done, and Kim can close. Another successful businessman in the county, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why he ever wanted to hire you. But I want to see you dressed up in that cow outfit and prance around on 224. Mr. Gail McCullough from Chick-fil-A.
I'm just going to be brief because Craig got better things to do tonight. But, at Chick-fil-A, we track attentive and courteous team members. And since Craig has been there, our scores have really gone up. So I attribute a lot of that to Craig Olson. Thank you. But at the same time, our scores on our hot fries have really dropped. And I figure Craig is out there grabbing a hold of people and chatting to them the whole time they're in the parking lot. By the time they leave, all their food's cold. So you get credit for that too, Craig. But I just wanted to thank you for being a great guy. I've known you many years. You got me involved in Rotary. Then I got Mike involved in Rotary here. And but I wish you lots of luck in the future. You got a great family. Good luck.
Thank you, Gail. Craig, I hope you were surprised. We go back to the mid to late 60s and early 70s, and that's how long we've known each other. And it's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll turn it back over to Ms. Kim.
Thank you so much for all your help, George. And I have to add one more thing. Kind of a roast, but with a happy ending. So it was back in 2009. I've been at the chamber a long time, but it was then that I had to take over our area councils. And back then we had Warren, Niles, and Canfield. And if any of you were on the council at the time, we met at SSB in the basement, big group back then, 20-some people. And it was a great group of people, but this one was, I went in one day and he's sitting over here, and at the time our former president had some opinions that maybe weren't so popular with the schools, but particularly with you as well. And he would chime in with these rude, well, I took them as rude remarks, not knowing Craig. I have not known Craig, didn't know Craig until that time. I have only lived in Canfield for 15 years, so obviously I did not know anything about Craig or his personality or how to take it. So I would sit there and listen to these interruptions and think, honestly, what a jerk. And I mean that the best way, but I'd go back to work and say, what is wrong with this person? We're there to do business, and he's making all these rude remarks and things that I don't have any control of. I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't want to go back anymore because this is what I have to deal with. I mean, but at some point, Craig, I don't even know when, everything turned, and over the years, we've had breakfast several times together. I have kids in the school district, and as everyone has mentioned, Craig is such an advocate for Canfield and the schools, and he is genuinely interested always in you and what you're doing and what your kids are doing and what their education is like and how things are going. And he is such a great one to give advice. And over the years, I've truly, you are such a great friend. And I was so happy when you moved back and agreed to come see this event tonight, especially knowing that you would be receiving this award. But it's just funny how in the beginning, every time we would go to those meetings, I would think, you're here again, and I'm gonna hear this all day long. But you truly deserve this award tonight, and I know everyone agrees, and we're so happy that you were here to accept. And so with that, another great Good Evening Canfield. I appreciate all of you for being here, all of our speakers, all of our sponsors, and we hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.